Okay, this is a recording over lines 34 through 63, Book 1 of the Aeneid. And the story is now actually going to begin in medias res. Line 34. Weeks, scarcely a conspectus Siciliae Telluris, out of the sight of the Sicilian land, Siculae Telluris being modified by the genitive Siculae, which means Sicilian. The happy guys in line 35, lighty, their nominative subject. Davant is in your verb, they were giving, and then your direct object are the wella. Wellum is a sail, and wella are then going to be the sails. So they, happy, were giving the sails in Altoon back in line 34 into the high. And at, on line 35, ruibant, they were rushing the spumas. They were rushing the foams. Spumas is accusative plural, obviously. Of salt, solus, from solus, meaning salt, and they were doing so aere, with bronze, from ice iris, one of the words for bronze, and it is implying the front of the ship, that would be the rammer. Line 36, cum Juno is a nominative, so when Juno, servans, a present active participle in 36, is therefore nominative modifying Juno, so when Juno, preserving the aeternum vulnus. Vulnus is accusative. It's so because it is a neuter word, and it's modified by aeternum. So preserving the eternal wound under her chest, these things hike with herself. Hike, say, kun in line 37. The hike is most likely accusative plural, understood object of something along the lines of she said. In 37, meine is may, with simply a ne on it, indicating a question, and it is the accusative of exclamation. Since may is accusative, it will then take, as its verb, infinitive, and it has two of them. One is avertere, or I should say, desistere, and then in line 38 is posse, so she says. Am I? The reason I'm translating may as I is because in English we understand it as the subject, but in Latin it's going to be the accusative since it's the accusative subject. So am I, modified by victam, it's a perfect passive participle from venco, vincere, vici, victus, having been conquered, desistere, am I to stop, in kepto, from the thing having been begun. Literally in kepto is a perfect passive participle, but is being used substantively here. The attempt, the thing that she'd started out. Nec posse, nor am I able, me posse, to turn away avertere, the regum, accusative direct object, king, Teucrorum, of the Teucrians, who were just the Trojans, from Italy. Italia. Quippe, obviously, waitor is a passive verb. I am forbidden, so present and passive, by the faith, which is obviously ablative. Then in line 39, she starts with palasne, in which she is going to then take palas, or he, Virgil, as your subject, potuit as the verb that it goes with. So, Pallas was able, potuit, and then go to your infinitive exure, to burn, classum argivum, the Argive fleet, accusative direct object, atque, and to drown, submergere, ipsos is then your direct object, they themselves, panto, in the sea. Line 41 then is all going to be ob noxam et frias, on account of the wrongdoing and the madnesses of Unius Aeacus Oili. Unius is one of the naughty nine, and therefore that's the genitive, us, of one Ajax of Oileus. That Oileus, then Oilei, is the patronymic indicating which Ajax this is, because of course there were two of them. She herself, ipsa. Yaculata. Yaculata is a perfect participle. It is from the deponent verb yaculor, yaculari, and so therefore it is translated actively. So she herself, we're still referring to Pallas here, who is Minerva, having thrown rapidum ignem, the rapid fire, Iovis, of Jupiter, out of the clouds, a nubibus, and disjacet quae, she scattered the ships, disjacet scattered, it's perfect, rates being the direct object, and erected quae, she overturned the seas with the winds. Then in line 44, you go all the way down to 45 to corripuit. She snatched up illum, which is of course still referring to Ajax and the accusative object of corripuit, that guy. Illum is then modified by the present active participle experantem, breathing out, and then experantem takes as its object flammas, breathing out flames from his pierced chest. Pectore is your ablative of location, and transfixo is the perfect passive participle modifying it. She snatched up that guy, turbine, with a whirlwind, scopuloque, and she pierced him in fixit, on a sharp crag. Acuto, sharp, scopulo, crag. One of 2 or 3 words used for sharp rocks or crags. Ost ego. But I, quai, who strut in Cato, literally means just to go in, but in here it has the sense of like strutting around, walking. But I, who walk, and then Regina is nominative, understood, a positive to the quai. I, who, as queen, womb is really devorum of the gods, Yoisque, and et soror et conjux, both sister and wife of Jupiter. I, that ego in line 46, takes its verb, gero in line 48. I wage wars, una cum gente, with one race, tot annos, duration of time, for so many years. And 48, et, does anybody, it's asking a question, quisquam, anybody, does anybody adora, worship the divine power of Juno? Numen is an accusative, neuter, and eunonis is genitive that goes with it. In addition, praeteria, or as a suppliant, that's what a supplex is, and again it's a depositive to the anybody, and as a suppliant, will anybody, and poned is a future verb, I can tell because it's from ponere, third conjugation with an e, will anybody place honor, honorum, on my altars? Aris, arai. So then we get into the part of the story in which Juno is going to visit Iolia, and obviously negotiate with King Aeolus. So the goddess, line 50, Dea, is your subject here, being modified by the present active participle voluntans. So the goddess, rolling talia, that is accusative, plural neuter, from talus, talus, tale, rolling such things in her inflamed chest, flammato, perfect passive participle, modifying corde, another ablative of place where. So rolling such things in her inflamed chest with herself, she waneth, line 52. She comes nimborum in patriam, into the fatherland of the clouds. And then you have 2 appositives as to what patriam is. So into the fatherland of the clouds, line 52, Iolia. And then your second appositive is aloca, a place, theca, filled, pregnant, teeming, with the raging austere winds. The austere winds are the south winds. Here, Heek, King Aeolus is your subject, Rex Aeolus, nominative, in a vast cave, vasto, antro. Vasto is obviously vast, antro from antrum, antru, 1 or 2 words for caves. And King Aeolus here in a vast cave, and the verb for Rex Aeolus is 2 lines down in 54, premit. He presses, he restrains. And then the objects of premit are the accusative ventos and the accusative tempestates. So he restrains the wrestling winds, luctantes being a present active participle modifying ventos, and the noisy storms, tempestates sonoras. And there in line 53 you have a nice chiasmus of adjective, noun, noun, adjective, luctantes, ventos, tempestates, sonoras. So he restrains them, he presses them, imperio, line 54, with power. And ac. Ac is and, ot is but. And he bridles them, frenat, from freno frenare, with chains and prison. And those are your ablative of means by which he's restraining them. Ili. Those guys, and the ili refer to the wind obviously, resentful, or resenting, or indignant, if you would like, indignantes, they fremont, in line 56 is your verb, they bellow, magna cum murmure, with loud murmur, circum claustra, around the enclosures, montes of the mountain. That is the genitive montes in line 55. Aeolus, starting a new clause in 56, is your subject, sedet. Aeolus sits, celsa arche, on the lofty citadel. Celsa is, of course, from celsus aeon, meaning lofty. On the lofty citadel, he, Aeolus, our nominative subject, modified by tenanes. Tenanes is nominative. Holding the scepters, mollet que, and he softens from molo, or molio, molere, and he softens their minds, and he tempers their angers. And I'm sorry, it's molio, molire. Unless he should do it. Ni is really nisi, and faciat is subjunctive present, meaning that we have a future, less vivid conditional statement in which it is going to translate obviously in the protasis that should, that's the if clause, and in the apodosis it's going to be would. So unless he should do this, then you go to line 59, obviously, that word quippe again, they, the rapid ones, referring to the winds, rapidi, would bring, so ferrant is from ferro ferry to lulatus. It is a present subjunctive as well, so we really do have the should would translation. The rapid ones obviously would bring, and if you get the objects, you go back to 58, the seas and the lands and the profound sky, the boundless sky, that's what profundus means. With them, so the rapid ones would bring all that stuff with them, verantque per aras, and they would sweep through the breezes. Of course, verant being from vero, verere. But the pater omnipotens, that's your nominative subject, the omnipotent father, referring to, of course, Jupiter, abdidit, from abdo, abdere, abdidi, abditus. It's perfect tense, so the omnipotent father hid, did hide, did conceal, implied them. In the dark caves, spelunkis, of course, are caves, which is where we get the word spelunking, and atris is from ater, atra, atrum, which simply means dark, devoid of light, black. He, the omnipotent father, hid them in the dark caves. Hoc metuanes. Metuanes is the present active participle nominative, modifying he, the father. Fearing this thing, hoc being the accusative neuter. It is hoc referring to all of that, what the winds would do if they weren't restrained. They would sweep along, they would bring up the dirt and the sea. So nonetheless, fearing this, molem que, and your verb next is going to be in line 62 in postuit. And he placed a molem, a mass, at montes altos. Those are all accusative objects of imposuit. And the high mountains in super on top of them. Regum que, and, dated, he gave a king, implied to those winds, a king, regum qui. So qui is taking as its antecedent the regum. Your qui then is going to be the subject nominative of sciret in line 63. And qui is also nominative, going to be modified by usus. A king who would know. Sciret is subjunctive because it's either a relative clause or characteristic, saying that it's describing the kind of king that he gave, or it's a relative clause of purpose. In other words, then the purpose for the antecedent king. Who would know et premere, both to restrain, implied them, foedere certo, in a certain agreement, in a certain pact. Foedere is a noun that comes from foedus, foederis, not to be confused with foedus aun, which is an adjective that means ugly. So who would know both to restrain them in a certain agreement, in a certain pact, what a foedus is, and who, usus, having been ordered, or subject to, having been ordered, would know to give loose reins. So in other words, the king that is going to be given by Jupiter, Aeolus, is going to have to know when to, of course, to keep a lock on them and restrain them, and the right times of when to let them loose, but only when having been ordered. Alright, so there is a translation and explanation of lines 34 through 63, right at the 14-minute mark.